How to prepare your business for a clean exit. Today I'm going to take you through the exact legal steps on how to prepare your business, and the way we do this is by breaking things down into manageable sections, starting at the end and working our way back. I'm Akbar Ali, a corporate lawyer, 15 years experience. I'm also the managing director of Ali Legal Limited, which is a specialist law firm that provides M&A legal advice to business clients. Now, we're going to give you another free document. It's going to be a due diligence questionnaire. Document is no good to you or to anyone else unless you know exactly how to use it, and I'm going to take the time to tell you exactly what to do. Make sure you watch the video to the end. If you like what you see and you need more legal advice through this YouTube channel, then please do subscribe. So what is a due diligence questionnaire? Now, if I'm instructed as a corporate lawyer to sell somebody's business for them, or to acquire a business, or to get an investment into a company, due diligence is carried out, and a seller would certainly have to respond to due diligence. This is at least half of the process involved in doing these transactions. So it's very important to acquaint yourself with what due diligence is and the methodology as to how it's carried out. The questionnaire seeks to find out information about a company or business and investigate things that are happening. It's broken down into various sections. That way, a buyer or an investor can find out things about the company. If you take one of these questionnaires at the start of this business journey of yours and conduct due diligence on yourself, you're already ready for the end. So corporate structure and records. This is to do with the constitution of your company. How are you organized? Are you a company? If you're a business in a general sense, you might be unincorporated. You may be a sole trader or a partnership. How is the company set up? Share capital and shareholders. This really drills down into the ownership of the company. Who are the owners? What kind of ownership do they have? What is their respective proportions of ownership? What is their returns on those respective ownerships? If you don't already understand this is a good opportunity to figure it out. We often create class rights within share capital for companies as well. This usually allows for different rates of dividends to be paid for different classes of shares. You have the flexibility to do different things with the share capital as well. So you can change the voting rights, the capital returns. You may say that the A shareholder, even though they hold 25% of the share capital, actually gets 100% on the vote. This is your opportunity to acquaint yourself with your own ownership structure and the share capital in your company. Accounts. This is the segment which gets into financial due diligence. Most buyers are interested in buying a profitable company, or there's some other commercial reason as to why they want to acquire the company. And the accounts will reveal to them quite a lot of the financials of a business up to a certain date. Beyond that date, it's usually the management accounts that will reveal a full picture. And if you don't have management accounts in your business, it may be a good idea to get them just for good housekeeping. The management accounts, they are subject to adjustments, they're not always closed, but it will tell you on an ongoing and live basis what is the income, what is the cash collection, what supplier costs have been incurred, so it can give a really good picture to somebody coming into the business or investing in. Finance and banking. This is getting towards your banking facilities, gets you to think about who you're banking with, do you have overdrafts, loans, debts, getting all this information organized and into one repository. When you start your business, it might be just a single current account and there's not a great deal going on, but as you progress in business, you may be opening more bank accounts, obtaining more banking facilities. If you have any debt products, if you have overdrafts, credit cards, loans, what are the terms, what are the interest rates, what are the penalties around these products? You can keep them all here. Contracts and trading. Now, this is where Ali Legal becomes very important because we spend a lot of time drafting commercial contracts. Now, when we're instructed to draft a commercial contract, we already have a business's corporate deal in mind. We already have their exit in mind. So we're thinking about the termination provisions. We're thinking about mitigating risk, excluding and limiting liability. And we will make sure that those contracts, particularly with customers that translate into the income, are as they should be. These questions will alert you to any gaps or issues that you might have with your commercial contracts and your trading makeup as well. So most buyers, as you would imagine, are interested in the diversity of customers. What these questions will do for you is really tease out the quality and current state of your contracts. Assets. Now, assets can be a big part of a balance sheet of a company. It really depends on the nature of the company. Some companies are a bit more intangible. They are trading services businesses and don't really have hard assets on their balance sheets. Other companies could be property owning companies, or they could have lots of assets within their business in order to advance the objectives of the business. So do you have your assets organized? Do you have serial numbers? Do you have a fixed asset register? Have you valued your assets? Go through these questions and really grill down into what is the makeup of your asset profile, because that can really impact the value and credibility of your balance sheet. Intellectual property. Intellectual property can be really valuable, as many people are finding out now. Intellectual property is a kind of intangible asset. Some are registered, some are unregistered. You need to make sure that if you have registered intellectual property in the most basic form, that can be a logo or a word mark, you need to make sure they're registered. And once they're registered, you need to make sure they are monitored and protected. And if you have intellectual property, which is the main basis of your company, like you're an inventor, or you have a patent, or you have created software, then you really do need to make sure that this section is something that you are familiar with, that you can answer, and you have all your documents together. Insurance. The risk associated to employer liability, public liability, is insured almost in all businesses. So in the most simplest form, your EL and PL, often called a combined policy, should be in place. Buyers and investors will want to know about this. Some regulated businesses have mandatory requirements to have insurance policies. Law firms, for example, must have professional indemnity insurance. That is a mandatory requirement. Some construction businesses, they have very specific insurance policies that they need for things like collateral warranties and guarantees that are done on building projects. So go through these questions and make sure that you can answer all the questions and put together the insurance documents. If you can't, speak to an insurance broker. This will also deal with any claims around insurances and the premiums around insurance. So this will make sure your business is adequately covered. Consents and compliance. Now, this is getting away from the primary law now. We're dealing with permits, licenses, local council requirements, environmental health requirements. So different businesses have different regulation, and some businesses will be heavily regulated and it'll be crucial for them to have their licenses in place. Other businesses aren't particularly regulated and don't necessarily need licenses or consents. A good way to find out is to complete this section. It's good to be able to complete this and say that it's not applicable, rather than finding out later that it is applicable and you did need to have a particular consent or license. Litigation and disputes. Now, this is another material part of Ali Legal's business. We spend a lot of time in the High Court and the Court of Appeal dealing with disputes between parties. There could be shareholders disputes, warranty claims, money disputes. If you don't have any litigation in your business for now, that's great, and it's always good to be not dealing with disputes and rather be dealing with productive matters like buying and selling companies or doing deals. What I would say is, even if the answer to these questions is negative or not applicable, at least you can see ways in which litigation could arise, or the kinds of things people would want to know about litigation if you were involved in it. If you are involved in it, it's a good time to get advice and really pin down the main details around that litigation and pull together the kinds of documents you would need. When litigation happens, it will be forgotten about in time as well. So you might need to go back 3 years or 5 years to answer questions about something that took place back then. So if you get the documents into your data room or repository or folders now, then you won't need to go looking for them later. Employment. Employment law has become very technical, very involved. And this is often one of the bigger sections of a due diligence questionnaire. Now, some people don't employ staff. You can go through a lot of this section, miss it out, mark it as not applicable. Maybe it becomes relevant in the future, or maybe you'll be spared having to do any of these questions. If you do have people capital, make sure you understand all the rights, rules that are attached to having employees. Notice periods. Are their contracts in order? Do you have all their contracts in one place? Have all the contracts been signed? So on and so forth. Retirement benefits. Now, retirement benefits, again, is another complex area of law, and it's very important that businesses understand what their liabilities are in this regard, because buyers of your business will want to know if there's any exposure. investors will want to know as well. Biggest exposure historically around retirement benefits has been defined benefit policies. There was a lot of pensions in the past that gave you an amount that was already defined before the end. When there was market issues, there was a problem with being able to deliver the final defined benefit at the end. So most policies now are defined contribution pensions. So this risk isn't as serious as it has been historically. If you're a company that's been going for a very long time, make sure if you've got defined benefit pensions that they are clearly documented and all the answers are there with regards to these policies, because buyers and investors will want to know if there's a liability coming at the end. Real estate. Now, real estate is often an expensive, valuable part of a balance sheet of a company. It could be your trading premises. It could be that you've carried out investment activities into property. If somebody comes along and buys your company, they will want to know certain things about the property you have. Are they subject to leases, or do you own the freehold title? Do you have any dilapidations? Do you have repair obligations? Do you have any loans attached to property? These questions will do a 360 view on the property capital of your business. Environment, this is another big risk, and you'll see the theme of the due diligence questionnaire is looking at where are the risky areas. But some businesses in the environmental sphere is considered to be dirty businesses. Matters such as contaminated land or historic cleanup requirements or restoration. Health and safety. This is another area which is very important. It kind of links up to the people capital, because often the biggest health and safety risk is to and brought about by people. Now, you need to make sure that you have your policies and procedures on these matters, whether you're running an office or a factory. Once you've got the policies and procedures in place, you will have things like accident report books, licenses you might have to obtain, personal protective equipment. Once you work out your policy and procedures first, these things will flow. Some businesses will be straightforward in this regard, and other businesses will be quite complex. Health and safety matters carry criminal liabilities at times as well. So this isn't just an area to get right because you may be selling your business or you may want to bring investment in, but you need to get this right because there could be criminal liabilities attached to failing to get it right. So this is a good opportunity to make sure that it is. Tax is the last section within the due diligence questionnaire. Tax is very complicated. There's various different types of taxation. They come with different calculations. Now, in the most simplest form, companies, if they make a profit, they pay corporation tax. They may, if they have people capital, also pay income tax and national insurance. That's the employee's contribution and the employer's contribution. So there's at least 3 taxes in most businesses. And when you've got more complicated businesses, you do have different forms of taxation as well. So go through this questionnaire and make sure that you're clear about what taxation rules apply to you. And again, this is another opportunity to get your documents in one place. If you register for VAT, then you will have a VAT registration document. It's an opportunity to get that document so you don't lose it in the future. Now you have a beautifully completed questionnaire. You have your very own data room. You yourself would buy or invest in your business. This is not one of those things to set and forget. We would review it every 6 months, every year, or you could stretch it to 2 years. Your business needs will be different. You should do a review every so often. Some businesses go through changes quite frequently, and some businesses are relatively static. So you decide how long you want to create the cycles of review, but make sure that you do conduct that review. So thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. Get that download for yourself and get making your data room. Make sure you do subscribe, and remember, do not sign unless I said it's fine.